All right, man, peace. So, as I was watching the Oscars last night and I saw Kobe Bryant win his award for Best Animated Film, during the commercial break, I saw how the Me Too / Time's Up movement was going to move into its next phase of indoctrination. And that is the hashtag Here We Are movement. And the reason why I decided to make a video about it is because I thought that it was very important for brothers to be aware of some of the players that they're going to use to help move this agenda along. And that is a female by the name of Denise Frohman. First name D as in David, E, N as in Nancy, I-C-E. Last name F-R-O-H-M-A-N. This is a female who sat down and she gave her spoken word, so-called slam poetry about women and how powerful women are. But I just want you to pay very close attention to this commercial. It's supposed to be an ad that is going to be propagated on Twitter. As you can see, you have the Twitter emblem, which is the bluebird, even though the bird here is not blue. But as we all know, the emblem for Twitter is the bluebird, which is for mind control, because the MK Ultra program was first known as Project Bluebird. Social media platforms are mostly used for mass indoctrination, mass mind control experimentation, how they put out disinformation, misinformation, so on and so forth. So when I see a person like Miss Denise Frohman, who is an out-and-out butch lesbian, it's very obvious to me what her role is, and that is to be an agent of chaos. She styles herself as a so-called woman of color. But of course, her father is a Caucasian Jew. Why do I highlight that? Because as I incessantly tell you brothers on this channel, behind the liberal blacks is the liberal Caucasians. And behind the liberal Caucasians are the Caucasian Jews. They're the ones who are at the forefront of most of these liberal and socialist reforms. And they love to take the lead in dictating to particularly so-called black people how they should think. This female, Denise Frohman, when you do a little research on her, she styles herself as a quote-unquote educator. I stated this a very long time ago on this channel. All education is a fancy way of saying indoctrination. When you go to get educated, you basically go to get indoctrinated. Now, there's certain information that you receive while you're getting your education that is true. Like mathematics is true. But you're also forced to embrace certain ideologies in the school system. One of the main ideologies that they're trying to push in the school system is pansexuality, the embracing of the veneration of Pan and Bacchus. And when you do a little research on this female, that is what she likes to promote as she goes across the country, teaching young males and females how to accept lesbianism, homosexuality, transgenderism. Please understand, as I always state, the God of this world, of this society, is the quote-unquote Baphomet, or Pan. But anyway, I'm going to let this commercial run, and I want you brothers to pay very close attention to how this female conducts herself. Once again, she is so-called Jewish. Even though she's trying to play like she's a woman of color, she's so-called Jewish. It is almost unerring that most of the reforms, particularly the liberal reforms in this society, are spearheaded by the Caucasian Jews. Why is that? Because socialism is the chosen mode of thought of the international bankers. Because once you divest any association with your culture, with your lineage, with your history, you're basically left to accept whatever's left. And that is globalism. Everybody hold hands. And also, you have to embrace the fact that you're a corporate asset. That's all it's really about. But anyway, I'm going to let this commercial run. Of course, I'm going to chime in. Once again, please pay very close attention to the images and the hand signs, because they're going to tell on themselves.
I heard a woman becomes herself the first time she speaks without permission.
That's Agent of Chaos promotion. Speak without permission. What does that mean? Say whatever you want, whenever you want. Don't think about it. Don't worry about who it affects. Embrace disorder. Also, please pay attention to the fact that they go out of their way to have women of every so-called race in this commercial. So-called black man, as I always tell you, the liberal black woman has three sides: the globalist angle, the racialist angle, and the feminist angle. And the number one is the feminist angle. Number two is the globalist angle. The racialist angle is actually number three. The average liberal black woman only talks about race when it suits her. Other than that, she's all for holding hands with everyone, with promoting lesbianism and pansexuality, and particularly being in favor of quote-unquote female rights.
Then every word out her mouth a riot.
Look at that. She said, the poet said, then every word out of her mouth a riot. And when they got to riot, look at the photo here that they had of this female throwing up the Manu Cornuto with both hands with her tongue out. Who is that for? That is for Pan, and that is for Kali. What is it I tell you brothers all the time on this channel? The goddess that they want to promote amongst these women is the destroyer goddess, Kali Ma. She always had her tongue out. Why is that? Because she was a blood drinker. You sacrifice people to Kali. She is basically the female version of Baal. You understand? Certain brothers might always wonder, damn, why does he always talking about MK Ultra or the quote-unquote pagan gods or Baal or this? Because it's very important that you brothers understand what's going on around you. Very, very, very important. Because if you don't understand it, what the Most High will allow to happen, he will allow you to fall prey to your worldly sensibilities. Your worldly sensibilities will be, wow, you know, this female's a nice person. Let me just go along with her. Let me just go along and get along. It's harmless. The next thing you know, you're dealing with all type of wild ideologies, because the main way that the Most High will allow you to fall prey to the ways of this world, if you're not willing to follow him, is through the woman. That's what he will allow. The same way that he told, quote unquote, Satan in the book of Job, you know, do what you want to him, just don't kill him. What was the first thing that Satan did? He had Job's wife turn against him. When Job was stricken with all those diseases, he had his wife tell Job, just curse God and die. So that's why it's very important for brothers to be, you know, very, very astute, mentally aware, mentally acute. They flash these commercials into your subconscious, you know, in a 30-second frame by frame collage of pictorials that most people don't understand what they're looking at. They look at this and they think that it means I love you with both hands. No, it does not. I mean, look at this female. Not only does she have two Manu Cornutos up, she has her tongue out and she's winking. So she's making sure that she has all her bases covered.
Riot. Say beautiful and point to the map of your body.
Isn't it interesting? She said, say beautiful and point to the map of your body. Well, I thought that most of the modern day women did not want to be valued for their physical body. I thought that they wanted to be valued for their brain and for their intellect and for their personalities. I guess it's okay for a lesbian to tell them to acknowledge that their bodies are beautiful. Isn't it so interesting that the females that claim that they're so pro-woman, like the poet here, want to look like men? Walking around with a short haircut and a cut-off button-down shirt, looking like Tom Cruise in Top Gun.
Say brave and wear your skin like a gown or a suit. Say hero and cast yourself.
Hey, look at what we have here. We have Miss Issa Rae. Now, I told you, brothers, in one of the videos that I did on the Me Too movement to watch out for her. They have a lot of big plans for this person here. You're going to see her a lot of different places. I commended her for her show, Insecure. Why is that? Because I called it an indirect satire, meaning what? She satirized the conduct of the young liberal black female, but she did not do it purposefully. She was just trying to create a realistic show. And she did a very good job because she showed how big a fuck up the average young liberal black female is and how big of a fuck up the average young black male is who does not know what's going on around him. That is the character of Lawrence. So many times when shows are well made, you have to pay very close attention to them because they say that art imitates life. But either way, pay very close attention to this woman and follow her very closely. because they do have big plans for her. When I say follow her, I don't mean support everything that she does. I mean just keep an eye on her projects.
Yourself in a lead role. When a girl pronounces her own name, there is glory. When a woman tells her own story, she lives forever.
Now, what does that mean when she says when a woman tells her own story, she lives forever? They no longer want to be under the hegemony of men. They don't truly want to be under their own control. This is just a tantrum that many of these liberal females are throwing and that they're encouraging the average woman to throw. They know that these hijinks are not going to be long lasting because the woman in general does not have a plan 4 or 5 steps down. They just don't. If men were to say, we're going to divest control of America and the quote unquote so-called civilized world to the woman, within 24 hours, the woman will be begging men to take back control. They're really just exalting in this momentary favorable light that they're being cast in, trying to make themselves believe that they're going to take over Hollywood with their silly, nonsensical, 2-dimensional films that nobody goes to see. Nobody goes to see these movies that that many of these females want to tell in Hollywood. But look, she's putting her hand over her heart. She's pledging allegiance to the God of the heart. Who is the God of the heart? That is Heru.
If this poem is the only thing that survives me, tell them this is how I happened. Tell them I built me a throne. Tell them when we discovered life on another planet, it was a woman.
Now, what does she mean by that when she says, tell them when we discovered life on another planet, it was a woman? She's talking about the mother goddess Venus. That's the planet that she's referring to. She's talking about Venus. Okay? And the proof of that is that when you try to use that hashtag here we are on Twitter, they even acknowledge that it is accompanied by the image of the goddess Venus. So once again, brothers, this is why, see, I see things happening before they happen. That's why I try to prep you brothers mentally. Because the only way that any of this nonsense can be effective is if you just sit idly by mentally and just allow it to occur. And just say, oh, well, it's okay. They're just trying to figure out who they are, and they're just looking for respect. No, they're not. They're not looking for respect. They're looking for quote unquote supremacy. And in the act of trying to establish female supremacy, they're going to destroy as much as they can because they don't really understand what's coming around the corner. The woman in general does not comprehend what is going to happen due to her hijinks. They just go along trying to see how much attention they can garner with foolishness. And then after the fact, they want somebody to clean up their mess for them. And I know a lot of people may not like that. It's okay. It's all right. But you brothers have to be prepared because these commercials, these images, these movies, these television shows will influence many of the females that you know. Because the woman is thoroughly plugged into the television. There's no doubt about that. They are thoroughly plugged in. But that's why I always harp on the mother goddess, Venus or Aphrodite. That is the goddess of love or of lust, right? Who was also a pansexual goddess. This is really just to push that sapphic sisterhood, that lesbian sisterhood. Because most of the ultra feminists are just a hop, skip, and a jump away from being lesbians. That's why they have the poetry reader being what? A lesbian.
Woman, and she built a bridge. Not a border. I heard this is how you make history. This is how you create a new world.
Now, did you see this female right here? Once again, she's trying to play herself off as being a so-called Puerto Rican. I'm going to rewind it back for a moment. But when this ends, I want you to watch how she walks away. She walks away like a damn rat. All right? Like somebody who is sneaky and has an agenda that she's trying to push. Now, this here is another mother goddess venerator that I've mentioned in the past, Miss Ava DuVernay. This was the female that they originally wanted to direct or be at the helm of the Black Panther movie. Now, can you imagine what her plans were for the film if she disagreed with Marvel's image for the movie? As much female energy as they had dominate that film. Can you imagine what her plan was? Her plan was most likely to have T'Challa be killed in the middle of the damn movie and have Shuri and Nakia, whatever her name was, take over the mantle. Have two have two Black Panther bitches. This is probably what they wanted the movie to be called. The Black Panther bitches take over Marvel. Because I mean, damn, Ryan Coogler, he made sure that the females were exalted. So for her to turn down that film, can you imagine what she wanted to have happen? And also, just remember, this is Oprah's boo. Allegedly. She has a new film coming out called A Wrinkle in Time, based off of the classic book. And guess who's starring in it? Oprah Winfrey. Brothers, that worship of the mother goddess is very, very big amongst most of these liberal black females. Very big. So a lot of you guys, you let that shit go. And you sit back and you're like, oh, well, that's not that big a deal. I don't believe in the Bible anyway. That's why I always try to accentuate the importance of putting the Most High first. Because if you just follow behind the woman and her veneration of the mother goddess, first she's going to try to make you her servant. And when she gets bored with you, she's going to make you her financial servant. She's going to take you through the white man's court system. That is how that works. That is why I repetitively go over the ideology of Kali Ma. That's the destroyer goddess. She destroys and then she rebuilds. You guys always trying to figure out how come this chick is getting with a man, then breaking up, then getting with another man, and breaking up, then getting with another man and breaking up. That is Kali Ma. Miss Ava DuVernay is a very, very strict adherent to the veneration of the mother goddess, Cybele, Cybele. She had a son/husband named Attis, which is basically the Phrygian or the Anatolian version of Tammuz. He was depicted as being a eunuch, meaning what? He had his penis cut off so that he could serve his mother better. All right? You have to understand many of these ideologies because they know these ideologies backwards and forwards, and this is what they try to promote in their films. Miss Ava DuVernay, as well as one of her very close friends, Miss Alice Walker, who's also close with Oprah Winfrey.
And she built a bridge, not a border.
Hey, you see that? You have the V for Pan right there. As above, so below. You see her left hand on her hip, her right hand up in the V. Brothers, they're telling you, man. They're telling you the same things that I've been telling you for a long time. That's why I tell you the things that I speak on this channel, you're going to find are rock solid. Now, you see the peace sign, and I've spoken on this before, is for the god Pan. The so-called victory sign, which was introduced to the world by the chief druid priest, Winston Churchill, who was the chief of the druids, who, of course, they glamorize in many of these films. But he was in on many of the programs and the agendas that the Nazis were trying to push. They were working together on both sides, and eventually they just decided to end the Hitler program. Hitler was an agent of MI5, but that's neither here nor there. That's a story for another day. But as you can see here, this female is throwing up the V for Pan right in front of her right eye, which is the eye of Hathor, the mother goddess or the cow goddess. And as you can see here, of course, as above, so below. Right hand up, left hand down on her waist.
Not a border. I heard this is how you make history. This is how you create a new world.
There you go, slinking away like a damn rat. Damn sewer rat. Trying to see what weak-minded chick she can get to lay down and spread her legs in front of her. But anyway, that's it on that, brothers. Pay very close attention to what's going on. Be vigilant. Don't be weak. And beyond that, any one of these females or dudes who bring this nonsense your way, you have to tell them that no thank you. The only way that you're going to be able to come against this nonsense is to have a backbone. That's why I speak so strongly against the sentiment of the quote-unquote black woman is God. Why are many of these cats saying this? Because they're cowardly and they don't want to be king. So they want to hide behind their mother/woman. And beyond that, most of them are side dudes. Most of these black women is God dudes. They're none but side dudes. They're trying to figure out a way to kiss the woman's ass so that they can get a piece of ass. So now all of a sudden the black woman is God. That's nonsense. But anyway, peace.